So, my parents were like, do we have a bus? Yeah, we have a bus. And then found a bus.
You found a bus,
and
right.
Yeah.
Hey guys, Alex Rich.
Ben Poremba.
Hey, we are excited to let you know that we have episodes of our podcast, Jews in the Lou, dropping every other week, and you're not going to want to miss. We have some great guests lined up.
Amazing. And while I have you, I want to thank the St. Louis Jewish Light for their incredible partnership and support of our podcast. The St. Louis Jewish Light doing amazing work for our community, keeping us informed with stories, with updates.
And visit stljewishlight.org. Subscribe to their newsletter. They'll keep you up to date on everything going on.
Absolutely. Well, see you soon.
Honestly, we just roll it and we just chat and we just have a good time.
Sounds good.
It's totally casual. Oh, no. So the cameras aren't even here. You can say hi to the camera if you want, or it's not like, super serious. But we like to keep it chill here.
Okay, we're good.
But you were just telling me about how you traveled around the world and all that different stuff. But you're originally from New York and your husband's originally from here. You guys moved back here, what, you said 10 years ago?
Yeah, it feels like a year. But
and that was your first stint. This is your first, you were here and you never left.
Other than leaving for a year to backpack around the world, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was born in New York. I grew up in Florida, in Sarasota, and then moved to New York again after college, and that's where I met Greg, who's my boyfriend, now husband. And he happened to get a job offer back here in St. Louis. We never intended to move, but every time we visited, I loved St. Louis, and so I was like, I actually think this job was a great opportunity, and we're going to leave New York sometime.
For sure.
So I moved here, and I guess, that was about 10 years ago, and we left for the year in 2019 and backpacked around the year. Around the world, we put everything in storage that we had, and then we came back the week that the pandemic broke out. We were in South Korea, and I had just found out I was pregnant, and then this flu was going around Asia, and we were like, we should cut the trip short a week, and so
you got out.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was crazy.
I can't imagine being out of the country when all that went down.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Seriously, because I remember you kind of heard that it was kind of gonna start spreading more and more, but then it was kind of one day the world was open and the next day everything here was just shut down.
100%. And honestly, where we were in Seoul in South Korea, they kind of did shut down. Everyone immediately had to wear masks. Your temperature was getting taken anywhere you went. And it was a ghost town quickly. And then we flew back, I think, through San Francisco or LA, and the US had not figured out how big of an issue it was.
Oh, totally.
And so we were looking around okay, this is about to get real, and they don't realize,
you knew what was coming.
Yeah, or at least I think I knew what, that our day-to-day was going to have to change, because we had already seen it for the past 5 or 6 days in Seoul. So, yeah. It's
crazy.
I know.
But, so I heard you are, first of all, talk about, what your professional, life, your experiences.
Yeah.
Am I right to say you're what it was quoted, the proposal queen?
Expert?
Proposal expert.
Could be.
The proposal expert in St. Louis.
In my 20s.
Yeah. Okay,
now I'm no.
Go back to the 20s.
Oh
talk me through, how did you get kind of started with what you're doing?
Totally.
Because you were an entrepreneur, basically, through and through.
Through and through.
But I want to know about all the different businesses and how you kind of got into what you're doing.
Yeah. Well, I do come from an entrepreneurial family too, so I always like to say that, because for me, climbing a corporate ladder would be the scariest thing in the world.
Right.
I'd have zero confidence. But taking risks and starting small businesses and local businesses, that's totally normal to me. So I started my first.
So you saw your parents do that growing up?
Many times.
What kind of businesses?
Well, my favorite one was a roller skating rink.
Oh my God, are you serious?
It was so funny. I was so legit, really fun. It was all space themed, and it had neon intergalactic design. It was really cool. Then they also had a bus company.
Okay.
So they had.
Was this all at the same time, kind of going?
Sort of, yeah.
Okay.
So for the buses, there were a lot of school parties at the roller skating rink, and the schools would call up and be like, do you actually have a bus that could pick our kids up?
So you guys were doing it all.
Yeah. So, my parents were like, do we have a bus? yeah, we have a bus, and then found a bus.
You find a bus,
and
right?
Yeah.
Figure it out.
And so I think that like find a bus is totally my mentality, and so yeah. And my dad, I remember as a high schooler when the bus drivers called out sick, he'd be right there at school saying, "I'm Stacy's dad," and as a bus driver, it was really embarrassing, but also.
Did he ever have to step in and drive the bus himself?
All day.
Your dad did?
Yeah, all day.
No, that's
and he would make sure.
He drove your school bus?
Not my exact one, but he'd show up to my school for a field trip or something, and he would like make an announcement, "Hey everyone, I'm Stacy Tasman's dad." Here, and I was like, "Dad,
no
please
way.
don't." Yeah, but now I'm super proud of it. But when you're in high school, you're like,
dude, chill. This is embarrassing.
Totally.
Okay. Wow, those are some random. So you've definitely seen like.
Yes.
All
and then they had
types.
a glass business when I was really young in New York. They had like a printer, ink cartridge, resale. Yeah, just kind of everything.
Okay.
So anyways, I started my first company when I was 23.
Okay.
And it was a way for couples to share their proposal stories on the internet. So this is pre-Instagram, people weren't even doing anything but writing on each other's walls on Facebook. They weren't sharing content. And so I had a friend get engaged, and everyone wanted to know how he asked. And so I was like, that's kind of cute. And I went on to GoDaddy.com, and I was like, let's just do how he asked. Let's see,
Right.
And then in my head, I was like, you know what? I think the knot is going to buy this one day. I can just feel it. And I just started it kind of out of nowhere, and then 5 years later, the knot did buy it, and so that was my first.
So it was called what?
So it was called How He Asked.
How He Asked.
Yeah, no way for couples to share their proposal stories on the internet. So it was all user-generated content. People would submit their stories and their photos, videos, and then we'd give them a landing page that they could share with their friends, and it was editorialized too, so a lot of people thought they...
Yeah, well, because, so it was basically so that they didn't have to tell the story of how they did it like a million times.
100%, yeah.
It's great. I mean, it's now why it makes sense why the knot bought it.
Totally. Well, they've got the knot, the nest, the bump, the knot for wedding planning, which you're familiar with, I'm sure, and then the nest for babies, which
we're going down that road. We're getting ready to have the first. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. In September, you said? Is that right?
September, yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah, we're
Congrats.
excited.
Do you know boy or girl?
It's a girl.
Oh, lucky. I have two boys, which I love, but I don't know, everyone wants their girl,
I know, right?
Oh, that's so great.
Yeah, thank you.
How
we're
are you
excited. Feeling? Pretty good. Not really nervous or anything. It's just kind of one of those things. You got to just be ready for it.
Totally.
Ready
and not ready at all at the same time. Because
you
got
to learn some stuff. My wife's pretty I think she knows a lot about children in general. Okay. She's a 5th grade teacher.
Oh,
not
you
that
picked
it's
a good one. You picked a good one.
Right? It's like she's doing a lot of the heavy lifting. I just need to kind of be able to learn.
Totally.
To learn as I go.
Yeah. I will say there's so many resources for babies and toddlers. My kids are heading into elementary school, and I feel like that's more of the Wild West. Mm-hmm. So if she's seasoned in that space, I feel like the baby stuff you just
babies are just kind of there.
Yeah, totally.
You just got to keep them alive.
100%.
Keep them alive.
Keep them alive and do cry it out. That's my biggest advice.
Yes, 100%. So we're excited about it.
Yeah, good.
For sure.
That's awesome.
But I mean, going back to your.
Yep. Yeah, so they had the nest and then the bump. Oh, so nest was for like home planning, and then the bump for baby planning. And so they didn't have a pre-engagement audience, and so How He Asked was great for that.
Which is fun. And I had a pretty cool, we did a whole, maybe I'd submit mine.
I'm sure you would. Tell me about it.
Actually, I had a group of people helping out. I had Luke at Bucket List. He was flying the drone, doing some of the camera work.
Yeah.
Alpaca Picnic.
Cool.
Julie, I don't know if you know Julie.
I've seen
She was great.
Yeah.
They had that set up at the top of the World's Fair Pavilion.
Yep, love
it. Joanna Sorenko, she was on The Voice.
Yeah.
She's a great musician. She's on the road traveling
now. Oh my God, you crushed it.
So she stood there and played, was singing.
That's awesome.
Was singing a Taylor Swift song, because my wife loves Taylor Swift.
Same.
And then I'm trying to think what else it was. I mean, that was pretty much...
Yeah, was she surprised? Did she know?
She was surprised.
Yeah.
I think she knew it was maybe coming at some point, obviously, but she had no idea, that's where we were like heading to for it to happen. So
it's so memorable.
It was fun. It was there was like hidden cameras in there and stuff. It was awesome. It was like,
I mean, there's so few moments that you get that extreme emotional surprise and reaction, both of you. Like you're feeling your own set of nerves and she's feeling her own overwhelm.
Yeah.
And it just, I mean, there's just not many times that you capture that much between you two.
It was awesome. It was awesome.
I love it.
What have you heard? Like, you've heard them all. What's the craziest story you've heard? Or your favorite?
Oh, God. I don't know. Crazy never really impressed me. It was like the more personal ones. This one always stands out to me, maybe because it was also super visual, but there was a couple that had been together, I think through like since middle school.
Okay.
And so people were always asking, you know, like, when's the engagement? When are you getting married? Like they love the nosy when are you questions. And so they just had this answer all the time that was like, we just need a few more ducks in a row. And so that was like their staple answer. And so for the proposal, he brought her out to this like unknown field, but it had all these like blown up ducks, like not rubber, but you know, inflatable ducks, and each one had a little note on it. Like it was basically their life, ducks in a row.
Wow.
And so each one had a memory, and he like took her down memory lane.
Okay.
Yeah, and at the end he was like, well, it looks like all of our ducks are in a row, so will you marry me? And I just thought that was
That's
so
a good
sweet.
One. That's great.
Yeah, and honestly, people ask me, like, did I ever see anything go awry? And we did have some people write to please take the story down because we're no longer engaged. And I will tell you, it was always the ones that were extreme. Helicopters, renting out the zoo, like the big ones were the ones that...
Wow.
Totally. Yeah.
You had people email you and say, take it down.
Yeah, it was sad.
Oh, man.
Yeah,
I mean, it happens, I guess.
I know, it happens.
You never want that too. Okay, so that's quite the business.
Yeah, it was so fun. Yeah.
So did that you didn't think that would blow up into what it did, maybe?
I mean, I thought it was a good idea at the time. You know, now in hindsight, I'm like, people are sharing content left and right. And
it'd be a tough model to do today, right?
Today, yeah. I mean, yes and no. I think I always talk about having a sweet spot in business, and I do think that we entered in a sweet spot because even Instagram, it came out when we were starting to grow. And so we were one of the first accounts that had a massive following. It was very organic, high integrity audience. It was before, you know, people had reach that was fake.
Right.
And, you know,
influencers weren't really into it.
Totally. I always say we were like an OG influencer. And so, yeah, and we just had a very authentic audience.
Okay.
It was not a crowded enough space yet, and so we really stood out. And we would share some of the better proposal stories on our Instagram, and they'd go viral. I actually think we were ahead of the time. Now, if someone started it today, they'd be in the past, right? Like there's a million people doing it. But at the time, yeah, it was good. It was good.
So you had that, you sold it to the Knot.
Yep, sold it to the Knot.
And then kind of graduated to the next, forming more businesses.
Yes. So I had a 2-year commitment to the Knot as part of the acquisition, but I was living here at the time, and they were in New York, so I had some free time on my hands, and I one of the things that was hard for me with the first business was that it was very intangible. So, you know, it was content on the internet, and I had advertisers that paid me to put a banner out on the website or post something on social media.
Sure.
And yeah, there were certain numbers and, you know, analytics that we could see, but not as robust as it was now. So there were times that I felt like, I think it did really well, but I'm not quite sure.
It's hard to put numbers behind it.
Yeah, and I really wanted to do well for the people who invested in our business and like advertisers. And it was just tough, you know? And so I remember thinking to myself 2 things. One, for my next business, I want something that's more tangible.
Right.
I want something that people can see and feel and hold and then decide, oh, okay, I'm going to buy this for the exact price it is, and I feel like it's fair, you know? So I really wanted that. The other thing is I really just wanted a 180 challenge.
Okay.
I had done digital, and, you know, to a degree, I could probably rinse and repeat, but that's just not my style. I like to learn new things and be totally challenged, and I wanted to start from square one. So I was like, all right, let's give myself a totally different thing here. And so I had this idea for this chocolate greeting card business. I ended up calling it Sweeter Card. So it's a greeting card with chocolate in it. And so, tangible, needed a warehouse, had inventory, needed to, have designers and chocolatier, and, so it was very opposite. And I loved it.
A greeting card with chocolate in it. So, but obviously I think the main question with that is, were you ever concerned that this chocolate's gonna melt, or eating it fresh? How does that work?
Totally. Well, the good thing is, which I did not expect, chocolate's shelf life is long. It can be 12 to 18 months or more. So shelf life, not an issue. Melting, yes, that was an issue. So we definitely had a more seasonal business. But that was fine, because I used to joke that during the summer we go to Europe anyways, so I didn't work. No.
Yeah.
So we actually, when I first started the company, I thought that the goal was to be in every greeting card aisle in the country.
Mm-hmm.
So think of, Schnucks, Deerbergs, anywhere, they've got these huge greeting card aisles, and the greeting cards are $10 these days.
Oh,
and they're, you throw them out later. And so I was like, God, there's got to be a way. And so, there's a longer story to how I had the idea, but I was like, we'll be the only chocolate bar in the greeting card aisle, and we'll really stand out.
Sure.
And anyways, two things happened. The pandemic hit, so grocery stores were like, girl, if you're not toilet paper, don't call us.
Right.
And two, it turns out that those aisles were owned by Hallmark and American Greetings. So they had really, they have these vendor agreements that their people stock them, even at Target. Mm-hmm. You'll see their brand there, the American Greetings or whatever it is.
That means they kind of own that section.
Yeah,
really?
And so they have their own people come and restock it. It's not Target.
Okay, interesting.
Folks.
I did not know that.
Yeah, it's really cool. So, but not for my business, because all of the buyers were like, that's not our aisle. We don't own it. And I was like, okay, well, how am I going to get to my goal? And honestly, I almost said, and I was pregnant with my first kid, and again, the pandemic, and I was like, maybe this wasn't a hit and I'm going to move on. But I serendipitously got an inbound request for custom cards. So previously I'd been printing tens of thousands of cards at a time to sell in big retailers, boutiques.
Right.
And then I forget who the customer was, but let's just call it Coca-Cola. It was like, can we have 100? And again, I'm going to simplify these numbers, but let's say it cost me 45 cents to produce the cards at mass quantities.
Right.
Well, I went to my printer. I was like, I only want 100. And I thought maybe they'd be a couple bucks. And he was like, okay, they're going to be $8 each. I was like, $8 each just for the card, not the chocolate, And so that bus story, I was like, call the customer back, and I was like, we can do it, and I just figured it out. And so over time, that business grew enough to where we had the scale of quantity, so it did end up costing less. But so we found our way into the promotional product space, because there's that whole custom, industry there.
Right. People want that stuff.
Yeah, and then I sold it to a promotional products company, a food gift company who'd been around for 45 years. So, yeah.
And they so you're basically getting these ideas off the ground and then kind of passing them off at some point.
100%.
So what then? And so you have those two, and then is there a third business?
There is a third business.
Okay. And this is what you're currently doing?
Yes. I can't take full credit. It was my husband's idea, and I'm helping. And it's relevant to you because you just got married, but it's called Betting on the Wedding. Okay. And it's an app that lets guests place lighthearted and fun bets on things that'll happen at your wedding.
No way.
So you could have set it up ahead of time.
Yeah.
And wait, what is your wife's name?
Annie.
So, it could have been place your predictions on, the wedding, and Alex and Annie's big weekend, and will Alex cry before Annie? Will Annie have an outfit change? Yeah. So there's just, so it's cute.
That's fun. I think I know people have done that where they'll kind of fill out little cards.
Sheet, yeah.
So you guys make it it's official. It's legit on.
Yeah. So.
And it can be part of their wedding website and all that.
Yep. So those we saw them come out after the app launched, just the sheets where you would circle your answer, but there's no way to actually know who won that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
There's
and
so a standings. It's
so our app, first of all, it's just way cuter, and the guests do it ahead of time.
And it's an app.
It's an app, yeah. So the guests do it ahead of time. So you guys would send it out in advance and say hey guys, we're doing a fun prediction game. fill out your best guesses.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to the wedding weekend, as the things kind of unfold, you like pick a co-organizer who calls the bets for you, like your best man or something.
Right.
And then there's like a live leaderboard to see like who's guessing the most
that's
right.
Fun.
You know, it's really fun. And it's not something like guests are not on their phones all the time looking.
Right.
They've already placed their bets. Every now and then they'll peek and be like, oh my God, like Ben over there is winning. So it adds a lot of engagement and it's just super fun. So it's very viral too, I have to say. Like everyone loves it.
It is like, is that, would you say your expertise then in everything you've done would be like on the digital media, the organic, like?
Yeah, I think it would be like consumer brands. Just knowing, like having creative ideas that consumers love. And honestly, people like us love, you know? All of my businesses have been generally in a market that I exist in as well. Mm-hmm. So the proposal website, it was when all my friends were getting engaged.
Right.
The chocolate business, I was always looking for ways to, send love to my friends and small gifts. Like, it was just so hard to find meaning in them. They were all plastic and junk. And so I needed something that was better. Right. And then now with betting on the wedding, we actually have been betting at our friend's wedding since my very first friend, her name's Jackie, got married. So we were like 27, and it was this one friend group of girls, and our boyfriends, now husbands, all met at this wedding for the first time. And then next year, it was the next friend that got married, so the boys got back together, started betting again. The next year, so our very last friend's wedding, even the uncle was like placing bets, and my husband and our other friend were like going around analog, like taking people's bets. And so we were like, we should just develop this,
Yeah, and you did.
So so my husband developed it, not he himself, but he oversaw it. And now he's got a technical co-founder that he works with. And then, I'm on more of the brand, consumer positioning, messaging, how are we talking to the customer, how are we selling ourselves, things like that.
That's fun.
Yeah, it's good.
That's definitely different.
Yeah, it's fun.
That's so neat. So you've done a ton of different things.
Yeah.
But then, is there something, I guess you said your childhood, like you saw kind of your parents and starting to do these different things. Is there something that stuck out to you as far as the specific reason as to why you knew you wanted to always work for yourself?
Yeah, I think two things. One, I've just never seen anything else. It came naturally to me to see risk and have risk tolerance.
And the risk never scared you?
No. I think knowing that my parents have done it many times. I was 23 when I started my first business, and they were my first mentors. And their advice was always spot on. I never was like a fish out of water wondering, am I doing this wrong? Is this crazy? They just could immediately keep pushing me and motivating me. And I will say when I graduated college, I had a friend who had traveled around the world after college, and I was like, I want to do that too. And I went to my parents and I was like, I'm just telling you this idea. And honestly, I had jobs all through high school, college, everything. So I had my own money. I did not need my parents' money, but I wanted their approval to backpack in Southeast Asia. Okay. Just their support, you know? And they were like, no, like, go get a job, go start working. And I was like, you don't understand. Like, this is life-changing. It'll feel, and they just didn't get it. I did it anyways. But all that to say, in business, it was never like that. They're like, yeah, girl, we know, we get it, we see it, So that was very helpful to me. But separately, I think, I respect the system, and I think that there's really great things about the system. But I believe that... how do I say this? Respecting the system, but standing on top of it is where I always want to be with my creativity, with my ideas. I never want to go so off the cuff, but why not me is I think something I think all the time. Yeah. And other people do it and other people take risks. So, I'll do it too.
Do you feel because you come from a Jewish household, a Jewish background, and this is Jews in the Lou. Sure. So do you feel that your Jewish background and Jewish upbringing helped shape that at all? Because one thing Ben and I kind of always talk about is as Jewish people that kind of really always a little bit have to prove themselves or work for what you get.
Yeah.
Those are kind of the backgrounds and households that like a lot of the people we're talking with come from, where they've seen their parents work really hard for what they get, and kind of nothing's really ever totally given to you. It's all about what you have to overcome to get there.
Yeah.
Do you feel like there's parts of your upbringing and being Jewish that kind of played a main role into this that maybe wouldn't have otherwise?
Yeah, absolutely. I think maybe it's also in our genes, this survival is, all on us or us together. But I definitely think that, my parents both, for one reason or another, they grew up in New York and had a couple tough moments with their families, and they kind of started anew in Florida. So not only did I come from a Jewish family, but they also had their own set of challenges of starting over per se. And I saw them work as a team. I saw them do things with high integrity between themselves, but also in our community. And I think that's something that's really special about the Jewish community, is that we're really open to, giving guidance and giving love and giving support. Yeah. So I think for me, I think it's actually more like genetic than it's in our DNA that we have to prove ourselves and have to make our own. And I think for centuries or, hundreds of years we've done it. And so, I feel it.
Yeah. I think that's like important. And what we discuss is like, we just kind of have a lot of pride. And so are you, like, I know your husband you mentioned is not Jewish.
Yeah. But he says he loves being Jewish.
So is there like, is it important to you to have like a Jewish household and Jewish morals as far as how you're raising your children?
Yes, for sure. My children are in preschool, but they both go to Temple Israel.
Okay.
And they love it.
Yeah.
And my husband honestly loves it. When we were first dating, of course, in my head, it's like, I gotta marry Jewish. And, but I met him, and he is so special, and he's so smart, and he works really hard. So a lot of the same Jewish qualities.
Yeah.
And my parents met him, and they were like, yeah, he's better than being Jewish.
Were they
they
unsure
love
at
him.
First?
Well, they were only unsure because they'd never met him. And so they're like, he's not Jewish. How could it be? There's no way, And then they met him, and they're like, oh, that's a good one,
Of course.
And he jokes because he had one other Jewish girlfriend at a certain time that he always knew he'd marry a Jew. And his family is Italian. And so there's a lot of overlap.
Same company, different division type thing. Yeah, we talk about that a lot too.
Totally. So when we first met, I was like, listen, and obviously I got the approval from my parents. I was like, listen, you don't need to be Jewish, but we do need to raise our children Jewish.
Totally.
And so if you're not ready for that, then like I'm the wrong woman for you, not he's wrong for me.
Sure.
And so that was a pretty quick like
he was on board.
Him. Yeah. And so he's we love it. And I think the kids they know about other holidays, but in a very just like, oh, my grandparents get me a lot of presents. So it's hard to turn Christmas off, but it's only the consumer side that we're doing.
And you hit Christmas with, like I said, my wife's not Jewish, but like we're going to have kind of a Jewish household. Yeah. And it's funny because like you can experience Christmas, I feel like everywhere else.
Totally.
Like,
yeah, good point.
Everywhere else you can experience Christmas, but like I was a lot of people's, especially in college, like I met a lot of people that I was the first Jewish person that they had ever met.
Crazy.
Or something. It's like,
wait, where did you go to school?
And I went to Indiana.
Really?
Which is like, there's a lot of Jewish people that go to Indiana, a lot of St. Louis people that go to IU, but it was crazy. And I think that's one thing that always stuck out to me was just kind of being able to share like what my family does for Hanukkah or like around Christmas, right? Like we always just kind of joke. Like I would go to my other friends' houses for Christmas, so I was experiencing it, but I was like the only person that a lot of my friends were able to come over and experience Hanukkah like with my family.
And there's like you've said a couple times, there's so much pride in being Jewish.
There is, and they are like so shocked by like you come over and like the questions that you're asked. Or, like, it's like sometimes honestly like people think we're like a whole nother world or like aliens or something, but you're like,
but
no,
in a sense, the community obviously is incredible, and with the rise of anti-Semitism and like a lot of the hate from a few years ago, I have kids in school in a Jewish institution, and so I do fear for crimes against children, and in the synagogues, I fear for it. However, do I personally feel like I'm internalizing any of that hate? No. Because I think our community is strong enough amongst ourselves, and we've had to be strong within ourselves forever.
Time and time again.
Right,
yeah.
so this isn't something new. And while, again, the safety aspect, it would keep me up at night. I could cry thinking about it. It is so scary. It just doesn't translate to, like, what I feel and who I am. I will never, my pride will never decrease, my love, my openness, my, and so to a degree, like, anti-Semitism is such a waste,
Yeah, do you feel like your husband notice it? Like, because we have this conversation, my wife and I, all the time about people understand that there's hate for Jewish people, but like when you're inside the inner circle, I guess, of the Jewish world, like, does your husband, or I guess more so when you guys first started dating, of course, anti-Semitism, right, has made its return for whatever reason, but do you kind of ever have those conversations where, like, your husband is surprised? It is surprising to those people where it's like, I don't know, I've just kind of always
felt it,
lived with it, felt it, like, I think...
it's actually, remember this conversation when we were dating. We were in, I think, maybe China, some Asian country, and we were at like a palace with a bunch of gardens, and I vividly remember us getting into a little bit of a heated discussion on it because he was like, I just don't understand why it's so important. And I'm like, I'm trying to find the words, but in needing to explain it to you, I'm actually feeling kind of like, why am I explaining this? And because we live with it, like you're saying, we grew up with it. Like it's not, like it's so strong and it's so powerful. It's in our hearts, it's in our souls so much that I'm like, I don't know, and so it's hard to show and share that passion without having the words and it just being a feeling. Now, totally different. We were really young when we first met, and he did not have so much exposure and to the Jewish religion, other than that one girlfriend. But it's hard to put into words. At this point now, he's like a very big defender, and well, like there are times where I'm like, honey, like, we're good.
Where you have to kind of stick up and just like, you just got to do it. You got to talk about it. You got to put your voice out there. Yeah. You've talked a lot about travel though. Yeah. You are a world traveler. Yes. How many countries have you been to?
Well, I stopped counting, but I like 85-ish, upwards more.
And how do you have the time for all this? I got so many questions.
Small business, baby, come on.
No, but seriously, I mean, like,
you asked before about what drove me to start my own businesses and do my own show, and honestly, it's the flexibility in my life. So I remember when I was a kid, my dad would take my sister and I on these 6-week-long camping trips. Okay. My mom just didn't want to go, or she'd like meet us for a week if we were at a hotel, and it was just so impactful to my childhood. My most vivid memories are those trips. And
traveling.
It was, and
so this has been like, you grew up traveling.
Sort of. I mean, I grew up camping with my dad, and we'd been to like 37 states all over. But we had my dad had a Acura Legend, little tiny car, and a pop-up camper. So we were not like doing it. He would be so offended if it was. Yeah, he was pulling the camper, and he had like the crank in the car. This is like a 2-door little sports car, he thought it was, but and he would like lift up the crank if we were whining or complaining in the back and like, listen girls, and so it wasn't like luxury travel, but it was good, Jewish dad travel. Yeah. So, but really just the time off. And like my parents both, could take time off during the day, come to my track meets. We went skiing all the time. We're from Florida, so we had to travel for that, so they just were flexible. They did whatever they wanted. And so that was the nature that I grew up in. And so I just obviously was going to carry that, And in fact, my kids now, they're 4 and 5. They've been to like 22 countries as well.
Oh my God, seriously? So how do you go about even like planning on what's next? Like what goes through your mind when you're like, what's
at this point,
next?
I don't know. We're running out of places now.
Seriously. Yeah, no, I mean like, because I've seen like there's a couple on Instagram or TikTok or whatever that has been to every single country in the whole world.
Oh my God.
Is that what your goal is, or do you just like to?
I think when I was 22, like I was saying before, I had a friend who traveled a lot internationally, and I was like, I really want to do it, but I don't know how. And he was like, just like pack a toothbrush and a t-shirt and let's go. And I was like, oh my gosh, yeah. And I just kind of trusted him. I literally had a JanSport backpack and like 3 changes of clothing. And my best friend and I went to Thailand and Southeast Asia for 2 months after college. And I think that was another thing. You know, a lot of people think change or starting something or doing something new is really hard. And that was one of the first lessons I had, separate from my upbringing, where my friend was like, no, it's easy. Just like book a flight, bring a toothbrush. And I was like, really? And it was that easy. Yeah. And so in that moment, I was like, I guess everything's a little easier than you think. We just put these barriers up all the time. And so I love to mentor other young companies, and I am constantly, or people who have ideas, and I'm constantly just saying, like, just do step 1. We don't need the whole vision for the future. I just need you to say, like, if this was, you know, if you would do one thing to get this started, what would it be? And then they'd say one thing. I'm like, okay, we'll go do that, you know? And if you can make it down into small bite-sized pieces, I think it's just easier.
Yeah.
So I think with travel, that was where it kind of sparked a friend that said, just do it. And so I was like, okay. And it worked. And so, yeah, I don't know. I met Greg and he liked to travel. And so, yeah, I've got a bunch of stories.
I was gonna say, I can't even imagine. Do you are you more of like beach? You're probably not beach at this point. I'm gonna more so say like you go and want to see just like you just want to see the world, like see what's out there. Yeah. And that's kind of what I've like gotten into more recently is just it doesn't always need to be like a trip to where it's warm or a trip to where it's like there's just so much cool geography out there. Oh, yeah. And like and I think geography and culture and something culture is huge. Oh yeah. I mean, people live life totally differently. There are times that like we were in India maybe a year and a half ago, and I'd been before, but it'd been a while. And God, India is just a whole other world. Like literally a whole other world. Right. And so then I go back to, my life here thinking like, oh, this is the only way to raise your kid. Oh, you have to do it this way. Oh, start your business like this. Oh, you want to make $1 million? Here's how you, there's like, this is the exact way. This is what America tries to, sell to you. That there's one way and this is it. And that's just so not true. And I've seen that firsthand a million times. Yeah. I have seen that people sleep with their baby. They co-sleep. I have seen that, they live in huts with 8 people. And, you see it. You see the way that they don't all have 9 to 5s. Yeah. But we believe that our way is the only way, especially as Western people. And objectively, that's just not the truth. So you think probably traveling has helped your just views of life in general open so much more?
Well, I remember, on that year-round trip specifically, so most of my friends here in St. Louis had kids before me. So I was the last of my friends here to have kids, but the first of my East Coast friends, Anyway, so, I remembered all these conversations about how, you need like 4 different strollers, one for the car, one for the, and like, and I just remember I was in Zimbabwe and we were driving, let me think about this. We were in Ethiopia and we were driving past these villages of all these children running out to scream at the bus and say hi and wave. And I literally saw this like 4-year-old baby wearing a baby. Like he had one of those wraps, which that is something that you should definitely get is to wear baby. But it was a 4-year-old baby wearing a child. And I'm like, oh, but I need 4 strollers and this 4-year-old can do it. They don't even have strollers in most of Africa, like I'm generalizing. And so it always stuck with me that, here we're all like, oh, here's your huge list of stuff. And they're like, what is you want me to lay my baby on
there's so many different things. We're going through it, I swear right now. It's like, there's so many options. What's your favorite country you've been in?
Oh man.
I know it's hard to pick.
No. I love Jordan for the culture. Oh, another thing I will say, you asked like what I love seeing, just eye contact with other people and like getting into their eyes and their souls. And I think different countries, people's souls through their eyes look totally different.
Okay,
so I felt in Jordan like there was just a lot of deep beauty, a lot of the same cultural feelings that I have about, you know, Judaism.
Right.
But so I loved that in Jordan. Just the spirit, the kindness, the family was, gorgeous. Japan's another world. It's insane. I think for diversity of experiences, South Africa is awesome.
Okay.
You can go to wine country, safari, cool cities, shark diving, beach. I mean, it has everything. Plus they speak English, which is good.
It helps.
Guatemala's great.
Okay.
I got a list.
You've literally been like,
Greece. I mean.
So we just went to Greece for my
what'd you
honeymoon
think?
last
What'd you
year.
think?
It
Where'd
was
you
so
go?
awesome. We went to Paros and Crete.
Nice. Oh yeah, awesome.
And awesome
it was
spots.
Great, yeah.
We did the Amalfi Coast, and then we did Greece. But Greece is like so cool. The food, the
100%.
views. They got like, you know, you got the clear water, the beach, but you got the rocky landscape.
Totally. And the great food. And
the great food.
Yeah.
So, but I think,
Greek lifestyle, I'm like,
I know.
should we be living
Everybody's like, they eat dinner super late.
Yeah, totally.
But I love it.
Yeah.
And I think that it is, it does open your mind a lot to like travel anywhere.
Yeah.
And so I think we're going to try to make it a point. You know, we just went to Hawaii a couple months ago, which.
God, that's such a far journey, actually.
It is such a far, and it's so far.
It is.
But it's one of those bucket list places where it's like,
for sure.
you want to go check it out.
Yeah.
But we'll have to talk because like, you've literally probably got it listed out exactly.
I do, yeah. And my husband's a huge note taker, so he has like, okay, first we moved our foot here, and then we placed our foot here. Like every step, he has written down.
He tracks it.
Yeah.
Jeez.
And now with AI, he's just like dictating his phone. Like everywhere we go, he's like, okay, I had this salami, I had this, I had this, just like tracking everything for us.
Well, I talking about AI, we don't have too much longer, but as you kind of are doing these next businesses, because I'm sure you've got a million ideas in your mind that you haven't kind of looked at. How do you feel about AI?
I think it's amazing in so many ways, and it's a little bit overwhelming in other ways. I think that for some tasks within the company that we're currently working on and thinking about if I had this 5 years ago, I think it's making things so easy in a lot of ways. However, there's also a lack of context that I think is really important, especially with a small business, to like you getting close to your customer, close to your feedback, close to, you know, the product and the offering a little bit more. I think it's creating some distance, which I question. And then like, honestly, on a safety perspective, we actually just met a woman from Romania who was getting her PhD. We were in Rio when we met her. And she is studying deep fake regulations.
Okay.
And so I think when you think of deep fake, you think like, oh, someone's going to deep fake Donald Trump or deep fake Will Smith or, you know, some famous people.
Sure.
But she said the true threat is deep faking amongst each other. So let's say you had an ex-girlfriend or you had an ex-boyfriend who wanted to take something out on you. They could deep fake you into something very dangerous. And it's happening with kids. And it's so accessible for the common person to do it. And we don't have the resources to fight it. Whereas, you know, the celebrity figures have a whole team to help combat it. Where people like us, if it happened to us, we wouldn't know where to turn. It would be too expensive. And so that scared me. I have a lot of thoughts. But I do think that from a business and efficiency perspective, it's unbelievable. How about you? What do you think?
I agree. I don't use it enough. I think that it does simplify a lot of things.
Yes.
But I do agree that I think that there's things that are becoming harder to realize what's real and what's fake.
For sure.
Even for like, you know, I know the older demographic gets kind of sucked into it a little bit more, but like it's starting to the point where I start to question, like, is some of the things that I'm saying, are they real or not? Right?
For sure.
So,
well, and there's a difference between like real as in like, oh, that is a fake image of a person here and person there, but there's also, oh, that wasn't your thought or your idea or your experience. It's even this morning, I wrote a blog post in 32 seconds and I sent it to my husband and I was like, here you go, put this on the site. Like 32 seconds.
And that's what's crazy.
Yeah, and so like they don't know what voice it is. And then over time, we're all going to just look the same, sound the same. How do you differentiate? You know, and to me, authenticity is really important to me and my integrity and how I feel every day. But also, I believe authenticity and integrity in your business is the only way to success.
Yep.
I've seen so many people who try to, you know, use their ego to get through places, you know, and I never, it's never aligns with me. Or like, you know, they sell a hope and a wish and a prayer, and I don't know, the underbelly is important to me. And so I think that that's going to be harder to maintain because you've got AI doing the work for you, and so it's,
You're
do
not
I be
getting the personal
authentic?
touch.
Exactly, or do I just let it, you know?
Sure.
So there's a time and place, and I think over time we will all recognize when it's really helpful and when it's actually maybe dumbing us down and taking us further away from who we are and what we're doing.
Right.
So yeah, I think we're in that weird space now with it, but
before we finish up, the last thing I want to ask you in regards to being like authentic and just running the business, like you doing the work.
Yes.
You do some things with Arch Grants. Is that correct?
Uh-huh.
Okay. So as an entrepreneur, Arch Grants and St. Louis as kind of a hub for a lot of like startup businesses.
Yep.
Talk about, you can kind of transfer what we just talked about being authentic into business and what Arch Grants and why it's like important for you.
Yeah, so I like Arch Grants because I think first of all, they give out a lot of grants. So they touch a lot of companies and people here, and I think they have a really strong commitment to, I think the whole community has a strong commitment to Arch Grants. So there's two pieces of it. One is they want to grow businesses in St. Louis. They also want to attract others to move to St. Louis. And I think having that dual track is really important. But of the founders that I've been working with, a lot of them are, you know, 1, 2, 3 person teams at this point. And a lot of what I do is help them get through some of those mental hurdles and face some of the things they might be avoiding, some of the things that they might not feel qualified for. Like I was saying before, when you're starting a business, you know, you don't know anything. And I think that scares a lot of people. For me, I'm like, okay, well, I guess I'll learn. You know, it's almost a little like bobbleheady, like, okay, we'll just do that. And I simplify it, but that's kind of true. But I don't think it's as easy for other people. And so I've been a little bit of an accountability partner to just remind people like, okay, you look a little, you know, nervous of heading this direction, but we can do this, we can do it together. So, I think it's a great program and I've loved being involved. So yeah.
Well, I think you obviously have a lot of unique stories and you've done a lot of different, not just startups, but just like lived a lot of different life experiences. And I think it kind of shows that you don't necessarily need to know exactly what your path is.
Yep.
You can really just kind of make something happen out of things that otherwise would be nothing.
I love that summary. That's exactly how I feel. And I think that, again, people are scared to do things. And I'm like, listen, turn right. And if you liked it, then keep going right. And if you didn't, go left. That's it, you know? And I think that we learn about ourselves the more we do. And so when you hold yourself back, just imagine how much opportunity there is that you're just never going to see, you know? And I think for me, just like having an idea and doing it yesterday is something that I just kind of live by, you know?
Right.
And
are you going to be a travel agent next or what?
No. Greg is, my husband's the travel agent. I just show up and I'm friendly to everyone, you know? No.
That's fair. Well, I appreciate you.
Yeah, this was so great.
Yeah, thanks for chatting.
Thanks for the good questions and your point of view.
Oh my God. Yeah. I got so many more questions, but I don't want to like take too much time. It's just, I think you should put together an excursion. Ben's a big traveler too.
Yeah.
So
I saw he was just in Morocco, which is an amazing place as well.
He did like a full month trip.
Oh my gosh.
In like, I think he was all Northern Africa.
Yeah.
Said it was just awesome, the experiences. And, you know, you get a lot of ideas for him. He gets a lot of ideas 100%. With his restaurants.
Oh, yeah. He gets not only food, but design and feel and ambiance.
Totally.
And, you know, what he wants, you know, what spirit he wants to bring in, what he wants his patrons to feel. And I think when you can explore that in other places, you know, it feels magical.
Yeah.
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 It feels like sometimes I go to places or restaurants, you know, in all parts of the world, and I feel like it was like placed here, like a human didn't build it. It's just like so perfect and so natural, and like this is unbelievable. How did this get here?
Yes.
But it was people building that, you know, and so I think Ben gets to take some of that and
honestly, that thought in general, just like when you think about that, it really is like it trips you out.
100%. Yeah.
It's nuts.
Oh my God, yeah. Actually, even I was just in Rio, and like last week, and have you been to Tel Aviv?
I have.
Okay, so you know it's like this gorgeous beach with this huge city.
Yes.
Well, Rio's like that, but plus mountains.
Okay.
Like insane mountains, jungle, forest, everywhere. Like it's gorgeous, all built into the city. And I'm like looking around, and I'm like, wait, humans built this. Like I'm just like, oh my God, how cool is this city? It's just like, you know, here. Yeah. But it's not just here. The people did it. Humans did it, you know?
Honestly, that's a whole nother conversation. Yeah. Seriously.
Yeah.
No, I appreciate you.
Not aliens.
Not maybe aliens. Yeah. That's another.
I know.
We can't talk about that. No, thank you again. I appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate it too.
Yeah.
It's good to know you.
Yeah, great to know you.